Elden Ring has a staggering amount of bosses, ranging from the good, the bad, and the ugly. But some of these are bound to be overshadowed, failing to receive the recognition that they so deserve. So today, we're going to be counting down 5 of Elden Ring's most underrated bosses. Actually 7. We're going to do 7. No, 7's too many. 7's too many. I'll get confused with 7. It's 5. Stick with 5. That's it. Let's go. Don't know why I'm doing 2 countdown videos back to back, but we're just going to roll with it. So easily forgotten, it's ancient dragon Lansseax. Sister to the big man, Lich Dragon Sax, Lansseax has... What is it with these names? Why can't they just have normal names so I can pronounce them? Archdragon Jimmy.
You're slipping, Jimmy!
Lansseax has a really interesting backstory that basically confirms that Vike is a scaly. Don't believe me? Look it up. Because of the spectacle in the other ancient dragon boss fights, you'd be forgiven for forgetting about her existence. But I think she's one of the better dragon fights in the game. Her jump scaring you as soon as you exit the mountain pass makes her kind of menacing, as you effectively have an ancient dragon stalking you throughout altars. Now her moveset isn't anything crazy, well except maybe for this. My god, look at that wingspan, the tasteful thickness of it. No wonder Vike was like, hear me out boys. It definitely wins points for cool factor, if nothing else. Her claw swipes demand some really good positioning, as they can hit twice if you're not careful, once with the claw, then followed up with the lightning. Even if you're not a fan of this fight, I feel like there's nothing offensive here, just a solid dragon fight that spans 2 locations of the plateau. Darth Vader. That's it. Fine. This man is criminally underrated. He forces you to get close enough to smell the tuna sandwich he had for lunch on his breath. Because if you don't, he's going to do his best helicopter impression and spam sword force attacks faster than you can tell what's happening. In all seriousness though, Elemer is like the model optional side boss. He has a good dungeon with accompanying lore, a great moveset with enough variations, that reward good positioning, and he drops his sword upon defeat.
Hand it over, that thing.
The only thing I think that lets him down is that if you fought the Bell-Bearing Hunter beforehand, it kind of ruins the initial impression. I think the Bell-Bearing Hunter should show up after defeating Elemer, like he's stalking you after you slapped him up at the Shaded Castle. This would almost make him Elden Ring's answer to the Pursuer. If Godrick the Grafted was a mid-game boss, I swear players would be putting more respect on his name. The best legacy dungeon, by a mile, their second phase transition that is the most metal in the series.
You choose to be nothing!
Challenging enough to set you up for future shard bearers. Challenging enough to set you up for future shard bearers, has counters that incorporate new mechanics like jumping. The list goes on. I think he gets undermined by being placed immediately after Margit, who is a much more brutal pick for the first main boss most players will face. I think he would be much better suited for this role because Margit just feels like a gatekeeper for new players. Godrick is a little bit more relaxed while still posing enough of a challenge. His biggest issue is that he feels like a cakewalk after you've beaten the game. However, just because he is easier doesn't mean he isn't a fun fight. Punishing difficulty doesn't make a good boss. Now, I think this is going to be the one that divides people. Loretta can quite easily be labelled as a Tree Sentinel reskin. However, that is a shallow assessment. A shallow assessment that couldn't be further from the truth. While she does in fact echo the Tree Sentinel, she is very much her own fight. Tree Sentinel is like a tank. Loretta is an agile battle mage. The way she moves around the battlefield is how horse combat should have been. The way she hops from side to side to avoid your attacks, all whilst peppering you with her own magic. She feels like a natural evolution of the Tree Sentinel. Imagine you're at Tree Sentinel school and you're about to graduate. Congratulations, Tree Sentinel. You can now either become a Draconic Tree Sentinel or a Knights Cavalry. How many times am I going to say Tree Sentinel? Loretta was like, no. And she hightailed her way to the Haligtree like the strong, independent Albinoric she is. Oh yeah, I forgot. She also has her own backstory that heavily implies that she is an Albinoric, which means her legs don't work. So add her to the list of paraplegic badasses that will stomp you into the dirt. That's a bit of an exaggeration, but her magic damage can easily catch you out if you're not careful. But as I said with Godrick, just because the fight is easy doesn't mean it's any less fun. Radagon is the best boss in the game. Too long has he lived in the shadow of the Elden Beast. Yes, they are both part of the same fight. No, I don't care. It's my video. I'm splitting the fight. I do what I want. Elden Beast isn't even that bad anyway. After a brutal boss gauntlet, plus Gideon, you get to the Erdtree. Marika and Radagon are confirmed to be one and the same. As Radagon turns to face you, your theme begins to play. Yes, your theme, not Radagon's theme, the theme of the Tarnish. Battles you fought, the comrades you've lost, all led to this. Now this ginger is all that stands in your way. Without a word, he gives everything he has left to try and stop you. Learning Radagon's attack patterns is the most satisfying experience I had with the boss in this game. His attacks are a brutal onslaught, but with enough windows to get your own damage in. Despite his difficulty, I can't help but feel that this boss is incredibly fair. Having a difficult boss that keeps you wanting to fight it despite its difficulty is a hard feat to pull off. He could lighten up on the teleport spam a bit though. Now, I'm sure everyone has at least one fight where they thought, you know, that was pretty cool, only to realise virtually no one else feels the same way. What's the boss you enjoy that will get you funny looks from everyone across the room? Put it in the comments and I'll come tell you why you're wrong and I'm right. I'm not joking, I will.